discussion goes under the title of Investments Perspective on Doing Business in Egypt, and it starts right now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's very kind. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second session, which is the investor's perspective of doing business in Egypt. And let me just very quickly set the context. Egypt is a very important country in the MENA region. It's the country's it's the most populous nation. We have a very young population. 32% are under the age of 14. 65% are under the age of 30. We will probably cross the 100 million mark by the year 2050. So that means they need a lot of jobs. And as with jobs, always you need to create jobs, you need capital. Capital is scarce. So therefore, investment and foreign investment is very important. And we now have 8 individual stories and views on what should be done in Egypt, what could be done, what went well, what didn't go so well, here. And what we will do is every speaker will speak for about 3 to 4 minutes maximum. So in a short, statement on what their companies, what their perspectives are, then we'll have a little interactive conversation and we'll open it up to the floor. Because I think the most important thing of this conversation is that the floor, that you all get a chance to ask questions to all this collected wisdom. So without further ado, I think I'm going to start with Engineer Tarek Atta, who is the chairman of General Motors. And General Motors does a lot of manufacturing here. And you've been here for a long time. And you've told me, especially also, you have some concerns on sort of currency management. So you will give us in 3 minutes your view, your take on where you are in Egypt and what you think should happen.
Okay. Thank you very much, Cornelia. Can you hear me? I can. Okay. Basically, the General Motors, Egypt exists since 1983, and we start production back in 1985. Our factory located in 6th of October City, and we're employing right now more than 1,400 people. Basically, we are producing commercial vehicles as well as passenger car, and we're leading the market in terms of overall for the last 6 years. We do depend a lot on the local production from local suppliers. We're having a network of 70 local suppliers who are providing us with components for the vehicles, as well as the sales and service network that has been doubled for the last 3 years. We've been investing all the year through, and for the last 10 years, we have put more than $100 million in the plant and with the suppliers as well as the network. And this year, which is 2013, we're introducing the new pickup, and we're investing around $25 million. Our investment is basically focusing on 3 areas, which is, of course, we need to keep bringing the new product, and we're investing in the facility itself, in the plant. But at the same time, importantly, is we're investing in our people, and this is where we focus a lot, whether the people in the factory or the people at the supplier side or the people at the dealer side. Customer is important. Customer is our main focus, and our commitment is always to continue providing the outstanding customer experience to our people. Our obligation toward the investment is we keep bringing the technology. When we talk about local content, we are investing in bringing technology. And 15 years back, we were just doing only a few components. Right now, we're having heavy industry that's happening. Going forward, as much as we are willing and we believe that the country, it's extremely well equipped to continue investing. Our current issue right now, which is FX situation, because like the Deputy Center Governor was talking about, that we're standing in the queue and we were trying to get our fair chance of the FX to support importing some of the components. That's considered to be our biggest challenge at this point of time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Fantastic timekeeping. Thank you very much. And it's very good. Gave us one key issue. This is great. Everybody gives us one key issue. We will, in the end, have a good picture, I think.
Sure.
So the next gentleman will be Dr. Engineer Nader Riyad, who is the chairman of Bavaria, and they manufacture fire safety equipment, have been in the country for 42 years.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you. I'm Nader Riyad. Our company is 42 years old, which means it has been reborn 3 times, making an average of a company's life cycle of 15 years. Quality accepts no compromise. When it comes to fire, only the best is good enough. Reaching out closer to our customers. Bavaria, Egypt, through 23 owned branches. Bavaria, Germany, through its 16 branches all over Europe. Bavaria, Egypt has presence in Lebanon, Sudan, UAE, and extending export links to many other countries. Bavaria's production portfolio. Car fire extinguishers. In this context, we are the biggest in Europe. We can produce a capacity of 2 million car fire extinguishers per year. Portables, mobile, trailer-mounted, firefighting trailers, self-actuated fire extinguishing solutions, fire cabinets, smoke, heat, and flame detectors systems, total suppression systems. Investing in quality. Over the past 22 years, Bavaria has invested generously in R&D, recognizing that vital role of innovation is created as an edge and gaining competitiveness. The company puts a great deal of focus on quality and innovation. It is not coincidental that quality and innovation happen to be 2 of our 8 company values. Bavaria has acquired 73 patents, trademarks, and registered prototypes within the past 16 years. Expenditure on R&D budget is about 5 to 7% per annum and has been allocated consistently over the past 20 years. Quality standards. Bavaria acquires almost the full set of product qualification with international recognition, including marine use regulations. Accredited laboratories. Bavaria is one of the few companies worldwide to own an ISO 17025 accreditation on its laboratory that's certified to test fire extinguisher according to the complete EN3 quality tests. Automation and competitiveness. Bavaria's shift to automation has helped becoming a leading and reliable partner in many markets. High-tech automated production was also one of the factors that made it possible for Bavaria Egypt to acquire Bavaria Germany in 1999 and centralize the R&D unit to be situated in Egypt. Given Bavaria Egypt's production edge, Bavaria Germany was able to compete better, jumping from the place 13 to rank 4th within the German market. Automation was also a tool enabling Bavaria Egypt to raise the ceiling of wages and salaries, attaining a better quality of life for the labor force and satisfaction in the workplace. Excellence. In 2003, Bavaria had received the Award of Excellence among mid-sized industrial enterprises, handed officially under the umbrella of the Ministry of Industry. In 2013, we are nominated among 7 other finalists out of a pool of 800 contestants for the Social Responsibility Award organized by ISO organization. Last but not least, we'll show a 1-minute short video on the company, giving a glimpse of what we go for every day. Thank you.
Thank you. So you're exporting how much of your products to the EU?
30%.
And the rest, what are your other export markets?
Either locally consumed
Yeah.
or in the Arab world,
Mm-hmm.
putting into consideration that the 30% we export to Germany
Mm-hmm.
are components that Bavaria, Germany, does use in making a bigger production.
Great, thank you. That's very good because safety equipment is so important in terms of the quality standards. So to be able to produce here for EU standards is a very good example. Now I would like to turn to a customer of Bavaria, who also is, I used to work for BP, a former competitor of mine. I would like to turn to Mr. Thomas Reberol, who is the managing director of Total Egypt, and he's a downstreamer, as he told me. So he's
nobody's perfect.
Nobody's perfect, yeah. But could you tell us, how you've managed? You've been here for 4 years. How you've managed through transition, and especially what are your major headaches? What keeps you up at night?
Right. So let me summarize. Thank you, Cornelia. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Let me summarize what we are today in the country. So we've been present since 15 years. We operate today 74 service stations, a tank farm in Mostar Road area, which is the north of Cairo. And we just also opened a factory in Borgalara, which is near Alexandria, for producing lubricants for inland exports. We have also opened a new branch for upstream in exploration in offshore, deep offshore, north of Alexandria. We will start drilling in August normally. And eventually, we also employ directly and indirectly around about 4,000 employees in the country, quoting that every time we open a service station, we create between 100 and 200 jobs. As well, our intensity in investment is about $10 million a year. Last year was $20 million. And we just signed also an agreement with Shell for the acquisition of Shell downstream fuels, which is basically the network, 90 service stations of Shell. Why we do this? Because we start with the positive things and then the challenges. First, our business is a long-term business. The old business, whether upstream or downstream, are based on 10 years assumptions. And if you look at a 10 years assumption in a country of 85 to 90 million people, we have here the top-ranked markets on the continent. So the company as total, with the leading company on the continent, has to be in Egypt and has to grow to match its end vision. I would quote, talking about challenges, I would quote 3 key challenges we are facing today. On top of the Forex situation on which we have heard and on which we have spoken a lot already. The first one for our industry is a reward to the risk and the investments. Egypt is a country with a structured price and structured margin system, which is called the subsidies, which are, as we know, and for some who have crossed some service stations today or yesterday, you see what I mean in terms of challenge. So today the reward to our investment and the one of the other private companies in the country are not reflecting now our capital expenditure intensity. However, quoting that the issue is identified, that plans are on track, we believe that the market will be rewarding investments in the coming years. Another key issue we are facing are the legal and tax I would say, stability and simplicity. Stability is important for us to have a clear visibility on the tax system over the next years, and actually already by now, to be sure that we are within a stable tax environment, that the tax announced are give us some visibility for fine-tuning, especially our investments. Simplicity is a global challenge. I will just give you one example. To open a service station, I need 42 authorizations. Some of them I can get it in a couple of months. Some of them it takes me up to 5 years to get it, which is a bureaucratic challenge for us, but which is also blocking the development of the business and the employment. Coming back to the fact that if I open 10 stations in a year, I can create up to 2,000 jobs. So this is, I think, something on which we need to intensify the discussion, the understanding between authorities and the private sector. And the last one, which is maybe also a topic for some of the colleagues here who are active in retail, is the access to land, which is a huge challenge also in the country. I give you an example. We are willing to invest a significant amount of cash in the country for creating a second tank farm, a big one, especially preferably turned on Mediterranean, forecasting the future development of the petroleum sector in the country. To be ready for maybe one day importing, we need to invest now. We've been working on this project since 5 years. Everything is settled. The investment is in principle agreed by the shareholder. The only thing missing is to conclude the access to land. That's it, Cornelia. I hope I was in 3 minutes.
That was fantastic. That was very good, and thank you for very clearly, giving us your 3 key issues that keep you awake at night. I think we are now going to Mr. Nobuo Toyoda, who is the Managing Director of Sumitomo SE Wiring Systems, and he will talk about the importance of business zones, and I put the order like this because you talk about the importance, and then our friend from Turkey will tell us all about business zones. So please, Toyoda-san, yoroshiku onegaishimasu.
Thank you very much. Hello. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to talk in this conference. Our company is located in Port Said and manufacturing the products called wire harness, which is wires to transmit power and signal inside of the automobiles. So my factory, our customer is located in the in Europe, which is UK, France, Italy, and Turkey, and Russia soon. So our mother company is located in UK, and the grandmother company is so-called Japanese company called Sumitomo Wiring System, which is world number 2 market share for the wire harness. And the grandmother is one of the biggest Zaibatsu in Japan, called Sumitomo Group. We have now, Sumitomo Wiring System has 210,000 employees in the worldwide to work for the wiring harness production. If we go back to 20 years ago, our factory for European business was located in UK, but due to the high labor cost and the shortage of the laborers, we moved to LCC, low-cost country, which is Poland, Slovakia, and Romania. Our business is so-called handmade or labor-oriented production style. Therefore, we need many operators and low labor cost. 5 years ago, we decided to move to North Africa, which is Morocco and Egypt. Now, we have 25,000 employees working in Morocco. But unfortunately, Egypt is not the case. 1 year ago, June 2012, our factory had, post-site factory has 2,500 employees. However, due to some illegal strike and the general strike of the instabilities, we obliged to make the reduction of the business job, and now we have 500. But since March 10th, we started to make the stable operation in post-site. We decided to return back to the original plan to increase the job now. The reason why we decided to come to Egypt is 3 points. First point is big population, which is Egypt has 85 million, more than 85 million. Morocco has 35 million, so still I believe Egypt has an advantage. And also low labor cost. Second point is free zone benefit, which is, because we are producing the products for more than 99% European customers. So this is a big advantage. Third advantage is short lead time of parts delivery from Japan. 30% shorter than European site. Therefore, if Egypt became more stable and safe for the production environment, Egypt has a big hopeful future according to our business. And we want to go back to the original plan, which is around 5,000 to 6,000 employees to work in 2016. That's what we are trying to be back. So I strongly believe we will achieve the original plan. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So just to recap, you really need the stability and the ease of doing business of the free zones.
Yes.
That's really what you. And you know the answer is sitting on the panel. The answer to your wishes is, I think, sitting to your panel. This would be Mr. Osman Arikan, who is Managing Director of Polaris Industrial Parks, and you have taken the industrial park concept from Turkey and you're exporting it all over the region. So please do tell us your experience here in Egypt. Give us why you came, and also give us the 2 or 3 things that which keep you up at night.
Definitely. I don't know if you can hear me. You cannot? Okay, I will be speaking louder also. I will try to answer the gentleman's question, but I don't know if I will be able to answer it. Now it's working, perfect. Let me tell you briefly what we are doing in Egypt. We are operating in Egypt during the last 6 years. Basically, we are working in several different fields, but our main field of industry is industrial land development, which is one of the main resources, if I may say, for most of the industries. We started as the first industrial park in Egypt in 2007. The idea has been perceived positively by the market and by the government because of several ideas, or because of several reasons. Because, first of all, most of the investors need an intermediary between themselves and the authorities. And whenever you are in a compound, in an industrial compound, this is giving you the security of belonging to a larger scale. The second thing is you need a supporting arm. A supporting arm helping you on overcoming the problems like getting the permits, dealing with the doors which need some certain locks to be opened. This is one of the helps that we had been providing. The idea has been perceived well, and now there are 12 private industrial parks being developed in Egypt. 2 of them are being developed by us. They are carrying the Polaris flag. And one of them is among Financial Times FDI magazine top 50 industrial parks of the world. So far we have developed 3 million square meters. We have a good distribution of local and international clients operating in our park. One of them is an affiliate of General Motors, if I may say. When fully operational, the industrial park concept is the 2 industrial parks are going to be giving 25,000 job opportunities to people in Egypt. And meanwhile, we did not only stick with the industrial land development, we have expanded on the other fields also. First, we have established the first private electricity distribution company in Egypt, together with our Egyptian partners, for distributing 375 megawatts of electricity. We are also working in facility management fields and municipality services fields. We have a strategic partnership agreement with the municipality of Istanbul, and hopefully we are going to announce a new project tomorrow with the governorate of Cairo together. Most of the people have mentioned 2-3 things that has been keeping them awake in the night, but I want to tell 3 things which keep us running, keep us continuing investing. Because we have mentioned about the foreign currency volatility, inability to predict for long term. We have mentioned about the red tape and some bureaucratical obstacle which is preventing in investing. But although we are having the same things, we have kept on investing during the last 2 years, especially on several fields. The first reason was the economy and the population. Everybody mentioned Egypt has 2/3 of the population is below the age of 35, 80 million people, potentially growth in GDP, 2% population growth every year. In Egypt, there are 700,000 marriages every year. So there are 700,000 new houses being established every year. This was one of the driving forces. The second thing is Egypt as a market is not good only by itself, but it has an access to regional markets with free and preferential trade agreements. Egypt can reach more than 70 countries in the world, European Union, Africa, Arab countries, Turkey, with those agreements. The third thing is, I'm going to run very fastly in order to catch up with this 3 minutes that Cornelia has given us. The third thing is the logistic advantages. We have friends from investing promotion agencies, and whenever an investment promotion agency prepares a website or, let's say, some kind of a brochure, they cut and paste the world map in a way to show the country of the subject in the middle of the world. In Egypt, you don't need to do this. I'll not mention about the Suez Canal. I'll not mention about the new rural lines being run or being operated. But when you take the world map in front of you, right in the middle is Egypt. So logistically, it has a very privileged location. There are several drawbacks, as we have spoken, for us and for us as an industrial compound operator, which has more than 40 companies, 40 factories of different scales operating. I can say if I have to choose one of them, of course, other than this volatility, the first thing would be the red tape. A lot of statistics have been given, but I want to give a very short statistic that everybody takes as the first look when they are sending their first team to investigate a country. World Bank reports. In World Bank reports, Egypt is in the rankings, Egypt is 21st in starting a business among 180 countries. So it's very easy to start your setup. But when it comes to obtaining a construction permit, Egypt is ranked 154th among 180 countries. So the problem is not to start, the problem is to keep going. But this is a challenge as well as an opportunity. Because of the fundamental advantages of Egypt, these challenges are somehow recuperated. And the most important thing that I can say within the last 1 year that we have experienced is, now there are professional people in Egypt, in entities like Gafi or IDA, where whenever you have a problem, you can sit and discuss your problems with and find a solution to those problems. We have experienced it with a few of our clients. We have been able to solve some issues, and there have been some issues which has not been solved yet. So basically, Egypt has a lot of potential advantages, and there are a lot of risks associated with it, but I still believe it's a good place for investment. Thank you, Cornelia.
Thank you. It was great, and it was very balanced because you gave us the opposite side. You said here are the problems, and then you gave us the solution to the problems. So that was a very balanced, very good. Thank you very much indeed. And I guess, Turkey is also at those crossroads. So there's a natural, if you look at, you're also in the middle of the road between Central Asia and the Middle East and Europe. Exactly. So now we are very privileged to have a very distinguished Saudi delegation here, who are very well prepared, and they have spoken amongst each other and with me. And so, without further ado, I am putting over to Sheikh Abdullah bin Mahfouz, who is Dr. Abdullah bin Mahfouz, who is chairman of the Saudi Arabia Egyptian Business Council, and who will give us sort of an overall view on how the kingdom, the investors in the kingdom, look at Egypt.
معذرة أنا بتكلم طبعا باللغة العربية. أنا أمثل الجانب السعودي في مجلس الأعمال السعودي المصري، ونحن المملكة العربية السعودية تعتبر من أكبر الدول المستثمرة في جمهورية مصر العربية. أريد أن أركز على الكلمة الافتتاحية اللي تكلم فيها وزير الاستثمار. قال استثمار بدون توظيف لا يعد بالنسبة له استثمار. إذن وتكلم عن الحجم الذي يريد توظيفه من خلال الاستثمارات النوعية والجيدة اللي ممكن تدخل إلى جمهورية مصر العربية. ثم تحدث مرة أخرى عن أنه يتفق مع الأصوات أو أن هناك تشريعات وأنظمة وقوانين تصعب من المستثمر أن يستكمل في استثماراته أو يزيدها أو يضيف عليها. أعتقد أن أحتاج أتكلم واحد منها. صوتي واضح أعتقد كذا. من خلال الحديث اللي تكلم فيه معالي وزير الاستثمار، نحن نشكره على أنه هو تكلم على النقطتين الأساسية، التوظيف، وتكلم على الأنظمة والقوانين الذي تعرقل في بعض الأحيان الاستثمارات الكبيرة الموجودة في جمهورية مصر وماذا سوف يصل في المستقبل. اللي بقوله أن نحن قانون رقم 8 الصادر في عام 1997، هذا القانون لما صدر دخل بناء على ذلك 1800 مستثمر سعودي، واستثمروا في حدود 8 مليار دولار، واستثمروا في استثمارات نوعية فيها توظيف عالي جدا. استثمروا في استثمارات زراعية، منشآت سياحية، صناعية. حتى المشروع الكبير اللي نحن بنتكلم عليه مشروع عمر أفندي يعتبر من أماكن الكبيرة للتوظيف. اللي أنا بس أحب أن أقول كذلك أنه هذه الاستثمارات اللي دخلت إلى جمهورية مصر العربية واكبت عوائل وأفراد في الاستثمار في التملك العقاري، إنه في حدود 4 مليار دولار تضاف إلى المبلغ 8 مليار. نحن بنتكلم على 12 مليار خلال 16 سنة القطاع الخاص السعودي استثمر فيها في جمهورية مصر العربية. يعني أريد أن أقول قبل 10 أيام كان هناك تصريح كنا نتكلم عن تعثر الاستثمارات السعودية في جمهورية مصر. نحن لا نتكلم عن مجموعة من الاستثمارات المتعثرة. اليوم أنا سمعت أحد الأخوان المصريين بيقول أنا رجل صناعي، لا يمكن أنك أنت تقارني برجل يستورد من الصين، والواجب أنه على الحكومة أو على البنك أنها تفرق ما بين الصناعي وما بين المستورد. وأنا كذلك أقول نحن من أكبر المستثمرين في جمهورية مصر العربية. عندنا بعض المشاكل، نشكر يعني حقيقة وزارة الإسكان على جهدها اللي هو صار، ولكن هي ليست مشكلة وزير وليست مشكلة موظفين، هي مشكلة تشريعات وأنظمة وقوانين تحتاج إلى عملية تعديل. وختاما، المملكة العربية السعودية ستظل الدولة الأكبر في حجم الاستثمار في مصر، وإن شاء الله أنه نحن أي استثمارات مثل ما أعلن عنها اليوم وزير الاستثمار سنكون السباقين في الدخول في هذه الاستثمار. وأي استثمارات يعني في منطقة السويس أو المحافظات اللي هي قريبة على المملكة العربية السعودية. وشكرا على.
Thank you. This is very good. This is very good. This is very positive, and it gives us hope to look forward to more Saudi investment, which creates jobs, which I'm with the minister as well. Investment needs to create jobs, which gets us to a very interesting idea, to a very good idea. The second speaker from the Saudi delegation is a lawyer, and it is Dr. Mansour Saleh and he has his own law company, and he has seen some of the problems that some Saudi companies had within Egypt on the legal side, and he has come with an idea that might bring the solutions. You know, we can always list the problems, but that's, so what? It's good to have the solution. Sir, you have 4 minutes.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Caroline. بسبب المشاكل التي نواجهها نحن كمستثمرين سعوديين، وذكر سعادة الدكتور حجم الاستثمار السعودي الغير حكومي في مصر، وكذلك هناك استثمار في المقابل مصري في المملكة العربية السعودية. بالمناقشات اللي دارت بين القطاع الخاص السعودي والمصري والجدية على الحفاظ على هذه العلاقات، يعني خرجنا على قرار تقريبا سينفذ إن شاء الله قريبا، اللي هو تأسيس مركز تحكيم arbitration سعودي مصري، مصري سعودي بإذن الله تعالى. وذلك لعدة أمور، لأن هناك أهم المشكلات اللي تواجهها الاستثمارات السعودية في مصر أنه صدور أحكام قضائية ببطلان عقود أبرمها المستثمرون السعوديون مع الحكومات السابقة، وهذه مشكلة كبيرة. وجود أيضا نزاعات بين المستثمرين السعوديين والحكومة المصرية حول أسعار الأراضي، هذه أيضا تحدي كبير. وفي جدية كما لاحظنا بين الحكومة الحالية ولحل هذه الإشكالات، لكن الإشكالات جدا عويصة وذات طابع قانوني يستلزم أن نلجأ إما إلى التحكيم الدولي، وهذا التحكيم الدولي حقيقة بسبب بعض الصعوبات اللي قد تعيق التوجه لها، وهي الروابط التي تربط بين المملكة العربية السعودية وبين جمهورية مصر العربية. رأى المستثمرون في مجلس الأعمال السعودي المصري وكذلك زملائنا ونظراءنا المصريون إلى أن نقوم بأنفسنا للعمل عاجلا لتأسيس مركز تحكيم سيكون إن شاء الله تعالى مقره في القاهرة، وبهذا المسمى سعودي مصري. هناك كفاءات كبيرة ورجال سامقين من رجال القضاء والقانون سواء في مصر أو في المملكة العربية السعودية. لا نريد أي تدخل حكومي في الاربتريشن، نحن نريد قطاع خاص. قررنا من الجانب السعودي أن يكون مجلس الغرف السعودية، ونظراءنا وزملائنا في الجانب المصري إن شاء الله تعالى يقررون الجهة النظيرة البعيدة عن الجانب الحكومي. طول أمد التقاضي في الاربتريشن كما يعلم الجميع هو توجه عالمي، للأسف الشديد نحن متأخرين فيه، وعندنا تجربة في دول الخليج اللي هو مركز التحكيم الخليجي اللي قائم في البحرين، وتلجأ وتدفع الحكومات في دول الخليج أي إشكالات إلى هذا المركز، ويكون مدد التقاضي لا تتجاوز 90 يوم تقريبا، بالمقارنة إلى مدد قد تصل إلى 20 سنة في القضاء سواء المصري وحتى القضاء السعودي. أهمية المركز التحكيم هو بلا شك واقع منشود. نحن أخذنا المباركات من الجهات الحكومية المعنية من الجانب السعودي وتشجيع من الدولة، وكذلك واجهنا إخواننا هنا في جمهورية مصر العربية على أعلى مستوى ترحيب كبير، وإن شاء الله تعالى نرى ذلك قريبا بإذن الله تعالى. Thank you.
Thank you. This is a fantastic. A very good, project, and it's very good. And in other words, it's red tape. It's the legal red tape that you're addressing, and you're finding a solution for it, which is, alhamdulillah, very good. Sir, we are now having our last speaker, who again has asked me to speak last because he has sort of a solution or something that he would like to say and like to end the panel with, or end the introductory note. We will then have a conversation on the panel and Q&A. But it's now my honor to introduce Engineer Sayed Hussein Bari, who is the president of the Omad Group, and they're in poultry, they're in chicken, so the agricultural sector, which is obviously a sector that's very important because A, it creates jobs, B, it feeds people, C, there's huge things with which you will talk about, issues where you get into the public health domain as well, so it's a very critical sector.
Thank you. أنا الحقيقة حاولت إني ألخص الكلام كله في 4 محاور، وكتبت ورقة عمل سميتها نظرة عن قرب على المناخ الاستثماري في مصر، التحديات والفرص. وتكلمت عن 4 محاور. المحور الأول هو مقدمة بقول فيها إنه المناخ الاستثماري الجاذب لأي مستثمر يتطلب مجموعة من العوامل. أتكلم عن المناخ الجاذب، أهمها الاستقرار السياسي والاقتصادي والأمني، وكذلك توفر الموارد الطبيعية والبنية التحتية بالإضافة للسوق الاستهلاكي المحلي أو الدولي. طبعا نحن يمكن القول أن جمهورية مصر العربية تتوفر فيها مجموعة من العوامل المشجعة للاستثمار كالسوق الاستهلاكي المحلي الكبير والفرص الواعدة للتصدير، بالإضافة إلى توفر الأرض والمياه واليد العاملة وتوفر الطاقة وإمكانيات كبيرة لتوفر الطاقة البديلة اللي نتكلم على الشمس والرياح. هذه مقدمة عن الوضع الراهن. المحور الثاني إن الوضع الراهن الذي تمر به البلاد قد لا يجعل مصر في مصاف الدول المشجعة للاستثمار، حيث قد تم تصنيفها بتقرير التنافسية العالمية الصادر من المنتدى الاقتصادي العالمي في إبريل السنة هذه 2013 لتقع في الترتيب 107. يعني أنا لو عندي $1,000,000 أمامي 106 دولة أفضل تنافسيا من مصر. وقد تراجعت مصر 26 نقطة في السنتين الأخيرتين للأسباب ليست خافية على أحد. هذا المحور الثاني. المحور الثاني اللي أتكلم إنه مصر أصبحت ظروفها غير جاذبة للاستثمار، وإنه قدامها 106 دولة أفضل منها. المحور الثالث تجربتنا الاستثمارية في مجال صناعة الدواجن بدأت في عام 2000، كانت تجربة ثرية ومثمرة، وتضاعفت استثماراتنا خلال الفترة أكثر من 5 مرات، وتجاوز إنتاجنا خلال الفترة في 10 أو 12 سنة أكثر من 500 مليون كتكوت بمبيعات تجاوزت $250 مليون، ويصبح إنتاجنا السنوي حاليا 50 مليون كتكوت في السنة و10 مليون دجاجة. طبعا الكتكوت حيصير دجاجة بعدين. لكن بدأت مشاكلنا مع بداية أزمة إنفلونزا الطيور في 2007 وعدم وضع خطة من الدولة تنفيذية للقضاء على المشكلة وإعلان خلو مصر من هذا المرض الذي أضر بالصناعة أكبر ضرر وجعلها تترنح تحت شبح الإصابة. نحن في أي لحظة ممكن تصاب المزارع مرة ثانية، وعدم إمكانية التصدير إلى يومنا هذا. طالما مصر لم تعلن خلوة من إنفلونزا الطيور لا يمكنها تصدير الدجاج أو الصوص أو بيض التفريخ خارج مصر. ازداد الوضع سوءا مع بداية الثورة وما صاحبها من ضعف القوة الشرائية وتوقف السياحة، ثم تلا ذلك تخفيض الجمارك على استيراد الدواجن المستوردة من 80 إلى 30%، وهذا قرار الحقيقة يضر بالمستثمرين. يعني لابد أنه القرارات هذه ما تكون يعني كده متسرعة بقى. والسماح باستيراد 200 مليون دجاجة مما أدى إلى خسائر فادحة وإغلاق كثير من المشاريع والأنشطة ذات الصلة بالصناعة. هذه مشكلة الدواجن بشكل عام ولا تخص السعوديين. على فكرة السعوديين ينتجوا تقريبا 18% من صناعة الدواجن في مصر مستثمرين سعوديين. إني أرى أننا بحاجة إلى مراجعة الموقف والعمل على وضع خطة لإحداث نقلة نوعية جاذبة ومشجعة للاستثمار. يعني كيف ننقل مصر من 107 إلى 50 إلى 40 إلى 30، تشمل معالجة مشاكل المستثمرين القائمة، وذلك بالإضافة إلى إعطاء القيادة السياسية. طبعا المشكلة حق المستثمرين القائمة لابد يعني نعطيها الأهمية والأولوية حتى يصبح هذا المستثمر وسيلة جذب للاستثمار وليس وسيلة طرد. اليوم أي مستثمر بتقابله عنده مشاكل بتقول له ايش رايك استثمر في مصر؟ يقول لك لا يا عمي ارجوك، مصر ايه ده، انا عندي حكيك مليون مشكله. فانا بحول ابى انقل المستثمر اللي عنده مشكله الى عنصر جذب مش عنصر طرد. فتشمل معالجه مشاكل المستثمرين القائمه، وذلك بالاضافه الى اعطاء القياده السياسيه الوقت الكافي لاعاده ترتيب امورها والعمل على توفير الحد الادنى من الاساسيات اللازمه المشجع للاستثمار. القياده السياسيه انا اشوفها مشغوله جدا، يعني انا صار عندنا كذا مشكله اروح للوزير، رحت لوزير الداخليه، عندنا سطو مسلح صار في مشروعنا. الحقيقه لما رحت للوزير انا خجلت لانه الراجل عنده مليون مشكله، عنده جنود مختطفين، عنده فموضوع يعني تافه جدا مقارنه فالبلد الان يعني القياده السياسيه مشغوله بامور اكثر أهمية من حل مشاكل المستثمرين. لذلك أقول نعطي القيادة السياسية الوقت الكافي لإعادة ترتيب أمورها. وإنني أقترح أن يساهم البنك الإسلامي بما له من خبرات في وضع خطة استراتيجية وخارطة طريق لنقل مصر إلى مصاف الدول الجاذبة للاستثمار، مستعينا بفريق عمل محلي ودولي ومجموعة من المستثمرين المحليين ذوي الخبرة بالسوق المصرية، وذلك خلال ال6 أشهر القادمة، على أن تتولى وزارة الاستثمار تقييم ومراجعة هذه الخطة في ال6 أشهر اللاحقة، واعتمادها من الدولة، واعتماد أنه يكون الاستثمار خيار استراتيجي لمصر، والبدء في وضع آليات التنفيذ لنكون جاهزين للعمل الجاد المخلص في عام 2015 لنقل مصر بلدنا الحبيبة إلى مصاف الدول الجاذبة للاستثمار. وشكرا جزيلا.
So wonderful, thank you. You were wonderful, sir. Thank you. So in other words, we all want the same. We all want to make sure there's good investment in Egypt. We all want to make sure there are jobs being created and that the current investment does well. I will now ask one question which I haven't heard touched on, and then we will open it up to the floor. But I think I am going to ask Dr. Engineer Nader Riyad that question, because you've been in the country, you've been the longest serving investor in the country of all the investors here, your company. One thing we haven't spoken about is labor relations. How have you sort of managed labor relations over the past 40 years? How has it changed?
Any modern management should consider the human resource as a most important capital factor. You can replace money with the borrowed money and so on, but you can never replace your labor force that easy without having to pay tremendous amount of damage. So developing and managing your human resource should be one of the first priorities that a company should put into consideration.
Thank you. And how has it, you would like to say something? Let's go first Total and then Omar. Let's go from manufacturing to the client, to Total, and then to agriculture.
Working. I would say, on a general point of view, I can only confirm that what our colleagues say, that human resources are our top-ranked assets. We at Total, we have to manage two different kind of population. We have, on one hand, I would say the management team, which is basically business people in financing, marketing, and engineers. We are a high employer of engineers. We are very happy in Egypt to have recruited extremely skilled people. What they are expecting from an employer like us is a ability from Total to offer international career path in a business which, one more time, is a long-term business. So we have a very low turnover, which means that we need to manage in a very dynamic way the career of the management team. On the other hand, we also have a significant number of workers, whether in factories or in the service stations. And over the past 2 years, we have successfully been able to cross the time without facing social issues as some other either competitors or other sectors may have faced. This is a combination of soft power, which means you need to maintain a permanent connection with the workers through the managers. You need to anticipate the key expectations of the people, and you have to provide security in terms of visibility to your workers in a period full of instability. So this is how we try to manage it up to now successfully.
That's wonderful. I know that Engineer Hussein Said Hussein Bari has something to say about this as well.
نحن تجربتنا مع العاملين في مصر أنا أعتقد تجربة ناجحة جدا، لكن نحن سوينا ثقافة التعامل مع البيئة المصرية مبنية على 3 محاور. أول شيء إنه الموظف والعامل المصري لا يعمل بالراتب، الراتب يعتبره يعني حق مكتسب. نحن نعتقد إنه العامل المصري أو الموظف يعمل بالحافز، فالراتب يكون موجود والحافز يكون عنده مجال إلى ياخذ 3 أضعاف 4 أضعاف راتبه بالانسنتيف أو بالحوافز. هذه ثقافة رقم 1. 2 العامل المصري عامل عاطفي جدا، يعني يبغى كلمات طيبة، يبغى المحافظة على كرامته، وهذه النقاط مهمة جدا. الموظف المصري والعامل المصري يعطيك عيونه، بس كلمه طيب، احترمه، اعطي له حقه، اعتباره. هذه نقطة ثانية. الثالثة وهي يمكن سلبية شوية، الموظف المصري أو هذا يعني خلينا ناخذ الجانب الإيجابي، يحب الاختصار، الشورت كات، يبغى يجتهد، يبغى يخترع، يبغى. نحن ما نترك مجال، لازم تكون البوليسي اند بروسيجر واضحة ومكتوبة حتى ما يقعد فيه اجتهاد وفيه اختصار وشورت كات أو اللي نسميه الفهلوة، يعني ما نبغى فهلوة. نحن عندنا عمل، عندنا سياسات وإجراءات مكتوبة واضحة، نفذ. عندك اقتراح، عندك أفكار للتطوير، اكتبها، ندرسها، إذا اقتنعنا بها ننفذها. فدي 3 عوامل أعتقد حققنا نتائج الحقيقة مبهرة وتفوق الستاندر العالمي بهذه الثقافة اللي تكلمت عنها. شكرا.
That's wonderful. I'm convinced you have employed people who really should be investment bankers, because investment bankers like incentives and they like to invent things. So there's you've merged investment banking with agriculture. That's an achievement.
With chicken.
With chicken. I think it's a good time now to open to the floor, and it's been very rich what we've been given. So can I please get some questions from the floor? Surely, sir, yes. And you have, I know, could you please identify yourself? Your country is obvious, and that's your companies. And I know your family or your group of companies have been invested in Egypt for many, many decades.
لو سمحتوا من السماعة بس.
ميكروفون.
يعني أقدم الشيخ عبد الله الخطيب، وخاصة كنا نحن بنتكلم في موضوع التخصيص. أتمنى أنه ما يروح لموضوع ثاني ويعطي فرصة، لأنه هذا الموضوع ليس فقط للمستثمرين الخليجيين أو العرب، بل كذلك للمستثمرين المصريين، في موضوع اللي هي تخصيص الأراضي الكبيرة العمرانية. لكن الأمر طبعا مفتوح لك، أي موضوع تبغى تتكلم فيه.
My name is Abdullah Al-Khatib, and I'm responsible for the family investment in Egypt since long time. We're into real estate development and into industrial development as well, similar to what you have mentioned, industrial zones. And we are facing the same issues that you have faced. You mentioned the land registrations, and the contractual level with the government in terms to acquire the land, which they call it the takhsis or the allocation contract. As you all know about this contract, it's not solid enough as an asset to obtain finance in the company. So I'd like to learn from your experience in terms of managing these issues and the development of such contracts and dealing with such contracts in terms of being as an asset of a company or how and when you register it? This is my question.
Thank you very much. This is working. As you say, in Egypt, land deeds is a serious problem because the government inherited a strategy which is trying to fight land speculation by enforcing landowners to build what they have aimed for. Basically, if you go to any industrial zone in Egypt and if you want to buy a land, you don't buy the land. You buy a contract. This contract enforces you to establish either your factory or your warehouse in a specific time period. And if you don't obtain it, you are faced with the risk that the land is going to be taken back from you. None of the banks finance this. This is a serious problem that we are facing and our investors are facing because banks, whenever they are going to finance an investment, they look for collaterals. And one of the most important collaterals is the land. Thank you very much for touch basing this. This is an issue that we have been trying to facilitate our investors to create solutions whereby the governmental contracts could be taken as a guarantee. However, the risk associated with it is very high because the contract is not perceived by the banks as a strong document of the ownership. So the only thing that you can do is to construct your factory, obtain your operation license, and then you have the title deed of the land if you can, because there's a process from new urban communities, then to authorities, then from authorities to developers, and from the developers back to the investors. If this cycle is finished, you can get a loan for your operation, but this is a big obstacle in financing your initial investments of constructing your factories.
How long is this cycle? Is it 5 years, 10 years, 20 years?
I can say that it's still ongoing in our projects.
We're facing the same issues.
Yes.
That's a big issue. Have any of the other companies who operate here faced the same issue? As General Motors, Total? Total, you mentioned it. You clearly face the same issue, yeah? No, okay. Excellent. Any other questions? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We'll go to the gentleman here, and then the two gentlemen in the back. So we'll have you. Could you please identify yourself, because I know you have call centers here, and you have a very positive story.
Yes. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله محمد بن فيصل آل صقر رئيس مجلس مجموعة شركات ريادة. في البداية أتقدم بالشكر الجزيل للحكومة المصرية والشعب المصري والحضور. شكر خاص لرئيس مجلس الوزراء ووزير الاستثمار على زيارتهم لمركزنا في القاهرة قبل أسبوعين وافتتاحهم للمركز. احنا ولله الحمد لنا تجربة مغايرة للي حاصل مع بعض الأخوان. بدأنا الاستثمار من بدري وفي من بدأت الأزمة ونحن مستعدين لها. استعدينا بوضع خطط تضمن استمراريتنا في الشركة. احنا عندنا مجموعة شركات ريادة، وإحدى الشركات اسمها شركة اتصال الدولية هي المستثمر في مصر. بدأت الأزمة وضعنا فريق خاص بحل الأزمات. كان عدد موظفينا قبل الأزمة تقريبا ما بين 1400 إلى 1500 موظف في المراكز. كنا عاملين بدأنا بمركز وتوسعنا حتى وصلنا إلى 3 مراكز. بعد ما بدأت الأزمة طبعا صار فيه اعتصامات من الأفراد الموظفين عندنا. استمروا 8 أيام، طبعا أثر علينا كثير، لكن إحنا فريق المسؤول عن حل الأزمة حقيقة فوض مجموعة من الإخوان يتفاوضوا معاهم، وكانوا طالبين رفع المرتبات. احنا حفاظا عليهم رفعنا مرتباتهم. بادرنا حقيقة بصرف مرتباتهم اللي أو الغياب عفوا 8 أيام دفعناها للموظفين كامل. دفعنا المرتبات في آخر الشهر حتى نكسب ثقة الموظفين. احنا 2012 وخلال الأزمة والله الحمد رفعنا رأس مال الشركة حتى ضاعفناه. الحين احنا في 2013 وضعنا خطة انه نبدا بتاسيس شركه متخصصه في خدمات الاتصالات. الآن والله الحمد زي ما ذكرت موظفينا وصلوا 1800 وشاركنا رئيس مجلس الوزراء بافتتاح المركز عندنا. ندعو الله أن يحمي مصر وشعبها ويحمي استثماراتنا.
It's very good to hear such a positive story, and what I'm taking from it, and I guess what we're all taking from it, it's important to just manage through transition and forward-looking manage. I've seen 2 hands up in the back, and I would suggest, in the interest of time, you both ask your questions one after the other, and then we'll have people answer. Gentleman back there, I saw.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. دكتور أسامة كمال، مستشار هيئة الأوقاف لشؤون الاستثمار. أنا بشكر السادة الحضور والسادة المتحدثين على أفكارهم. كنت بس بسأل المهندس حسين بحري بخصوص الورقة اللي هو مقدمها. هو ذكر مشكلتين، مشكلة تخفيض الجمارك ودي بعد الثورة على طول، وكنت أحب أعرف هو عمل فيها إيه، يعني هل هو تحدث مع الناس الحكوميين ووصل معهم لحل لهذه المشكلة ولا لأ؟ كذلك مشكلة انفلونزا الطيور دي كانت 2007، فهل لازالت المشكلة موجودة أو هل هو لازال بيعاني كمستثمر؟ وأحب برضو أشكره على اللفتة اللي هو قالها بالنسبة لمعالجة مشاكل المستثمرين الآخرين الذين ذكروا بعض الجوانب يمكن اللي بنشوفها أن هي سلبية شوية، لأن كل المستثمرين يعني إذا لم يعرفوا إن المشاكل اللي بتمر بيها مصر دلوقتي هي قد تكون مشاكل حادة ولكنها ليست مشاكل مزمنة، يعني هي severe but يعني for sure it is not chronic. فلو لم يكن ذلك يعني كانوا هربوا بفلوسهم بره مصر، لكن فعلا مصر إحصائيا وواقعها الجغرافي والتاريخي بيقول إن هي فرصة هائلة لكل المستثمرين. ندعو الجميع إلى تجاوز اللحظة الراهنة وإلى الاستمرار في استثماراتهم في مصر، لأن هم أعرف مننا فعلا إن هي مصر كذلك. آخر نقطة، بشكر المهندس منصور صالح لنقطة التحكيم بتاعته، لأنها من وجهة نظر الاستثمار هتقلل جدا فرصة عدم اليقين أو الانسرتينيتي بالنسبة للمستثمر إن هو يخلص مشاكله وبالتالي يعظم أرباحه. بشكره عليها وبشكر الجميع.
This is Engineer Hisham from NAREA, New and Renewable Energy Authority in Egypt. I'd like to ask Mr. Usman, just as a query, he mentioned that his company is planning to invest in the field of power generation, and he mentioned something about 5 mega projects. So my query for him, have you started to implement such projects in Egypt? And especially that we have many incentives the government is providing for the investors in the field of renewable energy. Thank you.
Thank you. I guess the 2 gentlemen will ask the question in that order. Engineer Badi, you come first.
Okay. Sorry. المشكلة الأولى اللي هي حاجة الاستيراد وتخفيض الجمارك. أنا الحقيقة طبعا نحن عندنا اتحاد لمنتجين الدواجن، والاتحاد تبنى القضية وتحدث مع الوزراء لكن ما وصلنا الحل. وبعدين حتى أنا قابلت الرئيس محمد مرسي في الرياض وبرضه أعطيته مذكرة على هذه المشكلة، وأعتقد أنه حولها للأخ حسن مالك وسووا منتدى. أنا أرجع أقول الدولة مشغولة يا جماعة، يعني مشغولة بقضايا أكثر سخونة من قضايانا، فأنا ألقى لهم العذر. هذا جوابي على الجزء الأول. الجزء الثاني موضوع انفلونزا الطيور، صحيح إنه الموضوع مزمن من 2007. طبعا كان في تباطؤ من 2007 إلين وقت الثورة من الحكومة أو في حل المشكلة. المشكلة بدها قرارات قاسية وحازمة ومكلفة حتى تتخلص من الانفلونزا زي ما صار في كل دول العالم. يعني السعودية انصابت، ألمانيا انصابت، كثير من دول العالم انصابت، لكن كان في إجراءات حازمة وفورية وكان في تعويضات، لازم تعوض المزارعين المصاب. مصر كان في تباطؤ في حل الإشكال، استوطنت المشكلة والآن حتى الآن احنا عرضنا انه كيف ممكن نساعد الدولة في انه تحط خريطة، يعني نحن بدنا بنحط خريطة طريق اليوم، بدنا من 3 ل5 سنين حتى نعلن خلو مصر من انفلونزا الطيور. العملية مش عملية سهلة، لأنه في كثير بيع الدجاج الحي لازم يتوقف، تحصينات، كثير من البروسيس والإجراءات والتشريعات المطلوبة حتى نعلن خلو مصر من انفلونزا الطيور يرجع الوضع كما كان.
Thank you. So the next answer.
So the next question was about power generation. First of all, thank you very much for your question. Maybe I have to correct a point over there. We are not working on power generation, but on power distribution. Basically, power has two main sub-industries. First of all, the generation of the electricity itself, and then to distribute it through networks to the end customers. Our current investment is in power distribution. However, we have been looking for investing in generation. This has been our initial target to invest. The missing part in here is again the regulatory framework, because if you want to invest in fossil fuels like natural gas and the others, there is no regulatory framework whereby the government can offtake the energy from you. Generally, you have two options, whether there are big tenders like the one in Beirut, or you have to find your own end customers, have a deal with them, and produce and sell your electricity to your own end customers. Where in large-scale projects, it is not very much favorable because you are bonded with the capacity usage of these end customers. The second thing is for new and renewable energy sources. Egypt is promoting and bringing up new opportunities, or let's call them incentives, to encourage new and renewable energy. Solar is, both for solar and for wind, Egypt is a favorable location, especially for wind. Zafarana is one of the best locations in Egypt. But the problem, there is a serious problem that we have been lobbying for the last 2 years, together with the Turkish embassy also, about the regulatory framework that is being put forward. The general, Turkey is culturally and market-wise very similar in the renewable energy with Turkey. What has been proven successful in locations like Turkey is the government sets a standard offtake price and distributes licenses on the technical and financial capabilities of the investors themselves. However, the methodology that is being adopted by the Egyptian Ministry or New and Renewable Energy Authority currently is to tender it based on prices. Doing it based on prices first, tendering it in this way makes you stick with a certain small group of investors in the field. And the second thing is the calculation is very basic. In renewable energy, your major expense is the amortization of the investments that you are putting on the ground. So other than the incentives on land or on the grid, like the Renewable Energy Authority doing now, is the biggest or largest encouragement would be to put a proper regulatory framework where more than one people can, or more than one company can enter the market, because the market is not regulated and established yet. This will be the answer that I can give for this question.
That's very helpful. And that brings me, we have one question there, then I have a final question, a quick wrap up, and then we see a film. So, sir, can you make sure your question is asked in 30 seconds, please? Did the person to whom the question gave understand the question, because we had no...
One for me.
One for him, one for Mansour.
Okay, excellent. So you understood it, and you just tell us what the question was when you, because you have your mic up, the interpreters couldn't follow us because they didn't have a microphone. So you just repeat the question quickly, give the answer, and then Mansour, and then I'll ask the last question, do a wrap up, and we see the movie.
أعتقد السؤال هو عن التصريح السابق اللي أنا تكلمت عنه قبل 10 أيام بخصوص بعض أو عندنا بالضبط 16 استثمار متعثر، وقلت أن هذه الاستثمارات حجمها 5 مليار ريال، وهو مبلغ ضخم وكبير. وطلبت من الحكومة وهي في خلال مراحل الحلول الذي تضعها إنها تضع استثماراتنا في الفترة اللي نحن نتكلم عليها 6 أشهر. نحن حقيقة اليوم معالي وزير الاستثمار تكلم عن هذه النقطة تحديدا، وهو يستعرض عملية التشريعات التي تحتاجها أنه يأخذ عليها موافقة من مجلس الشورى حتى يستطيعوا الوزراء في معالجة هذه المشكلة. هذا اللي أنا طلبته فقط، ضعونا في برنامج الحل تبعكم حتى نستطيع أن نحن نخلص مشاكلنا في خلال 6 أشهر. اليوم رئيس الوزراء أكد برضو على النقطة الثانية اللي هو أعطى وزارة الاستثمار كافة الصلاحيات إنها تأخذ بحيث أنه يكون عندك اللي هو نافذة واحدة لجميع التراخيص اللي أنت بتحتاجها. هذه النقطتين اللي نحن تكلمنا عنها قبل 10 أيام أجاب عليها وزير الإسكان وزير الاستثمار، وأكد عليها رئيس الوزراء اليوم، وشكرا لهم على بادرتهم.
And in 1 minute, please. Thank you.
1 minute.
Yeah.
طيب احنا نتوقع ان شاء الله تعالى، نحن الان فريق عمل سعودي 100% نشتغل لدراسة التشريعات المصرية. التشريعات المصرية ليست غريبة عننا كسعوديين، يعني نحن درسنا في مدرسة القانون المصري من عقود. ثم بعد ذلك سنشكل فريق عمل سعودي مصري قانونيين وقضائيين، ثم نخرج بتصور إن شاء الله تعالى سريع خلال أسابيع عمل للمجلس الأعمال السعودي المصري، ثم يرفع لأصحاب القرار لأخذ وليس للاستئناس وأخذ المباركة، ليس إلا هنا بس فرصة. أنا يعني نحن ندعو القوى السياسية في مصر أن لا تقحم المستثمرين في مشاكلهم. نحن ليس لنا علاقة بالمشاكل من يكون في الحكومة، نحن نتعامل مع أرض مصرية بوركت بشعبها وليس لنا علاقة ونحن على مسافة واحدة مع الجميع. فأرجو أن تتفهم القيادات السياسية أن تجنب المستثمرين ويتعاونوا لمصلحة البلد إن شاء الله تعالى. شكرا.
Thank you. And I have just a very quick question. I would very much appreciate a quick answer, because I will summarize all the wonderful, solutions that you found to the problems and some of the problems, and then our Egyptian hosts would like to show us a quick movie on, how good it is to do business in Egypt. Now, the question I have is, I think I'm going to ask the two gentlemen who have spoken the least so far. So I would ask Engineer Tariq Atta and Toyoda-san. In terms of hard infrastructure, access to power, roads, and so on, are you happy with where you are right now in Egypt?
I think so far the basic foundation for investment in Egypt exists, and when I've mentioned earlier, it's about the people, and we're investing lots on the people. The people are really works hard, and that's the most important assets. Now, in terms of the future and the business, as most of the people have mentioned, a country with 80 million people, so the future for the industry, at least I belong to, which is vehicle and cars and the commercial, it's there, and I would expect it to grow up faster even. So we are present in this market, and we're planning to stay for this market. So there is no question about the potential of the market, and definitely there will be always the challenges, but the thing which is we need to keep working hard with the government, closer with them, sharing with them our issues in order to come up with the solution that allow us to continue the business successfully in the country.
Thank you. Toyoda-san, very quickly.
So also, I'm very happy because we suffered the labor issue from last year, but we had frequent communication with the government, especially the Manpower Ministry and GAFI, to solve the problem. And finally, by the end of last year, we solved. So we are going to look at the future. So I'm very happy.
So I will very, very quickly sum up what I've heard. And if I've not heard something, if I heard something wrong, I would encourage the panel to tell me that I have left something out, said something wrong. And then we will hand over to our Egyptian colleagues who will show us a very short movie. So it's always nice to have a movie before going to lunch, some light entertainment. Okay, what I've heard is really stability. One of the issues is stability, political stability, business stability, knowing what's ahead. If you're a foreign investor, you want to know what's ahead, you know, as you're traveling down that route of investing. Then it's also stability in laws and taxes and regulatory framework, and making it easier, making the tax regime less complex, the legal regime less complex, so it is easier to do business with. Then obviously for a lot of the companies that have to import equipment in order to be able to produce, is the availability, the access to FX is very important. And red tape, that's what I said before, is come up in every statement. So one needs to be able to address red tape. Then obviously the judicial system, the solution that Dr. Mansour had with his arbitration concept is the solution to the red tape in the courts, in the legal system. So again here. Then another place where we have red tape galore, which it just takes forever, is the ability to purchase land. And if you want to have service stations for oil, if you want to have tank farms, if you want to build business parks, that needs to be solved also, so that you can actually borrow. You can take mortgages on the land, you can borrow, and you can move ahead. We have heard from several people that free trade zones are important, and it's important to have, business parks, free trade zones, which enable the business. And we have somebody here who is building a business park. So the solution was present on our panel. So we have to thank our Egyptian hosts for putting together such a great panel. Then we have also heard that it's important for the government to have a plan in place to deal with things that can happen, such as natural disasters, influenzas, bird flus, pandemics. So you can manage, as a business, manage through that, and you're not held hostage to whatever happened for 5 years or so. So you can keep on growing. Then we have also heard from you, sir, that you sort of basically said, take 5. First look at all the things that have to be done, put an action plan in place, maybe with the Islamic Development Bank, and then go out again for the second round of investment. But do it in a way that you can tell the investor, look, we've had all these problems, we've addressed them, it may not be perfect, but this is the new system. Then we've also heard that it's in terms of labor, it's very good. You have great workforce, people who want to work. It's just important to manage with people and manage with people through uncertainties. So that's sort of what I've heard, which was all actually very positive. Yes, there are issues, but people are willing and ready to work together. I was very encouraged by the honorable member of the government who spoke to us. So that was all very good. I would like to thank the Islamic Development Bank. I would like to thank the Egyptian government, and obviously G8, Deauville Partnership, for enabling us to have this panel, for putting this panel